and I could hear it banging, and I was like, oh, it's going to flood. And the PC is right by where the window was.
Awesome.
And I couldn't. I started panicking. The people I was in the demo with, I was like, yo, what's wrong? I don't know where the door is. This is crazy.
You're listening to the AV IT Amplifier. Each week, we'll feature voices and ideas that need to be amplified in the higher education and pro AV IT communities. This show is brought to you by higheredav.com. And now here's your host, Ryan Gray.
Well, hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in again to the AV-IT Amplifier. As always, I am Ryan Gray. I am your host, and if it is Wednesday, your feed has been refreshed with new content. My guest looks confused because it's not actually Wednesday. The show comes out on Wednesday.
It's okay. All right.
So it will come out on a Wednesday. So pretend that it's Wednesday. And this is, okay, your feed has been refreshed with new content, and this Wednesday is no exception. We are at the HETMA booth on InfoComm. It is Thursday morning, and this is my first thing of the day, so I'm a little tired, as are most people today, but we have a new guest for you. So Rebecca, Bex, whatever it is you want to go by is fine. Would you please introduce yourself? Who are you and what do you do?
Yes, I am Rebecca Wade, but you can call me Bex. I'm from Igloo Vision, and we are specialists in immersive technology.
That's a really succinct way of saying what Igloo does.
Thank you.
Okay, and your name badge does say Bex on it. So.
It does. They let me have a nickname this year. They never used to do this, so I have to be Rebecca, and it's what I get called when I'm in trouble.
So that option, I've been tempted to use it a couple of times to do different names, but in the end, I've chosen to be professional, which seems kind of boring.
As long as you don't call me Becky, we're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't work these days anymore.
So angry.
All right. That's awesome. Okay, so let's, if you're up for it, let's first dive in a little on Igloo. I'm excited about Igloo because we have an Igloo coming to my school, which I am pumped about. And it's kind of a big deal around there.
It's a cool one as well.
It's a very cool one.
It's the only one that looks like that. Well, it looks like the Fuji booth.
I know. All right, so let's start with that. How many Igloo immersive spaces are on the show floor here this year?
There are 4 this year, which is the most we've ever done. We did 3 last year. Mm-hmm. 3 last year, 2 the year before, and then 4 this year. So maybe 1 next year, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, we're on Fujifilm, Epson, Panasonic, and then also our own booth, which is super cool.
It is super cool. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's do this for folks that haven't been to the awards, which you guys have swept up year after year, and maybe don't know what an Igloo really looks like, and they're wondering why we're talking about like coolers for beer and stuff right now. What if you had to say, all right, Igloo specializes in building X, what do you guys specialize in building?
We specialize in building immersive rooms that are effectively like being in a VR headset without having to put the VR headset on.
Nice.
So it's typically projection mapping, but they can be made out of LED screens as well. But for the most part, it is projection. And we can do wall, ceiling, floor, curve, flat, any shape, any size. I specialize in education only, so most of mine are classroom sized to get larger groups in, but they can really be any shape.
Nice.
It's pretty neat.
All right, so, and then in education, what do you see? I love the people that there's people that walk across and then you can wave at them. See, they get so excited. They're coming in from the parking lot.
Do you know those people?
No. Oh, no. All day. Especially, you can tell.
That's
sorry,
so good.
This is such a thing. So, if you're listening, we're on the second floor of our booth, and there's a glass walkway that goes across on top of the show floor, but it comes in from the parking garage. So it's people just getting a glimpse of the show floor for the first time,
right.
And they're like, and then if you wave at them, they get very excited.
No one else has one of these. You don't see any other balconies out here.
Yeah, but there's a couple. There are a couple of 2-floor ones out here, but we're pretty special.
Oh yeah, I see that one.
You see how quickly I get distracted from our own topic of conversation.
Just go right off the rails. Okay.
Okay, so in education,
yes,
how are people using their Igloo spaces?
Okay.
Because I'll do this.
Okay.
When we went down the road of working on an immersive project like this, one of the things that stands out is how many educational institutions, higher ed education, have Igloos in them.
Yeah.
So like, is that just because you're a fantastic salesperson, or have they found really good stuff to do with that?
They just want to do really cool things.
Yeah.
That's I'm very, very lucky. Every single one of my projects is totally awesome. So I work across K-12 and higher ed. So I run all of our projects for the North America region. And it will be from anything as simple as virtual field trips, taking students, staff, whoever it is that we're putting under the education umbrella, into a place that they have never been or couldn't go to, like the moon, or just somewhere that is maybe they're going for a job interview and they need to be able to understand where they're going to go when they get there. All the way through to much more complex projects, medical simulation, using it as we have some fantastic projects where they train student paramedics and first responders. And those are some of my favorites until they start talking about scent machines and making smells happen in there. And
yeah.
Step away from that. But for the most part, those are kind of more practical, hands-on skills that might be difficult to do in real life. So it's not always appropriate to take a cohort of students to a hospital ward or surgical theatre, or you can't always simulate a car crash every day, but what you can do is you can film the scene of a car crash and you can replay it 100 times over and over, and then you can also film the students, play it back to them, evaluate performance, and then it gets really wild because the technology that we work with is completely hardware agnostic. So there's all kinds of weird and wonderful things that you can build into it, and we get into that sort of weird avenue of research where the guys come over with really crazy projects and they're like, I've got this idea, and then we end up working on I just delivered a really cool one. It's the first of 4 with Vanderbilt University, and it's in the neuroscience department. They've got head tracking, eye tracking, the whole thing. It's absolutely bananas, and that's very, very specific research, and they'll be using that to collect information. Totally awesome.
It is totally awesome. I love it. Yeah, like it's one of those things that, like you said, so first, it seems like, basically every Igloo is custom to some extent, right? Like, well, I'm sure it's not like you've got them on the shelf and you're like, let's ship you a Model X or whatever.
One tomorrow.
So they're designed and they're that purpose, but what it means is, like, when people have an idea, you guys can build it to have the capability that you need for that particular, thing. Whether it's, I've seen examples of like a performer getting to pretend that they're in front of an audience for the first time, or cycling training, and you get the full immersive thing. Like anywhere you need to put somebody, you guys build the thing to put them in.
Yeah, there's we have a blueprint for the basics, and the software that drives it remains the same.
Yeah.
But then exactly that. Outside of that, sometimes they have to be for 1 or 2 people. Sometimes I have requests for. I'm working on an esports arena right now, and they want to show. So it's crazy. They have like 132 gaming PCs, and all the kids are going to be doing
at them. Yeah.
And they want to display all of them across this gigantic auditorium-style space. It is off the chain. It's so cool. But that's a completely custom project. So the software remains the same, but they came to us and they said, we have this really, really large space that we need to work with. Can we do something? But then I have projects that are, they maybe have 12 feet in a closet that they're like, we want to be able to do something immersive, but we don't have enough space. Yeah.
And have you ever had a project where the people have, say, 30 feet by 30 feet wide, but only like a 10-foot ceiling to work with? Is that a challenge for you and your engineers?
It's one of those. The education space is an interesting one because most education facilities are older buildings.
Yeah.
Or, we're in this like weird period now where a lot of people are starting to refresh and go to new buildings because they haven't been updated since the 50s and things like that. So we have a challenge of working with some really weird classrooms, and the worst one I ever got, we didn't find out until it was critical mass. And the ceiling that we had to work with was 8 feet
Oh my
high.
Gosh.
And they were like, but we can still get an 8-foot screen. I was like, oh, goodness me. But, the good thing is, so we do everything in-house. We have all of our software team, all of our designers, all of our installers, everybody is part of the Igloo family. They've all been here for a very, very long time. So the company was actually founded nearly 20 years ago. And quite a lot of people have been here since the start. So they're very, very good at problem solving. They understand inside and out exactly what needs to be done to make it work. So our New York office is a great example. It's in Midtown Manhattan, and the ceiling was just atrocious. But we were trying really hard to get floor projection in there because it's totally awesome and it's really good. But they had to like jimmy in these mirrors and like do a whole thing just to make because
to get the projection
they couldn't put the projectors back straight up because the one that you guys are going to have is there's so much ceiling height to work with, we can just point straight down. But the one in New York was, they were doing like all these things with these, trying to figure out which one goes where. But it's all there's always ways to work around everything. And luckily for us, because it is hardware agnostic, there is a lot of choice for what we do and how we do it.
It's been fun, a couple of meetings that I've had with some of the design people but you can see them do that like active problem solving. Here's an idea, what if we try it this way? Do we have space for this? Do we have room for this? And like it was almost like, I'm such a nerd for that stuff. It was just fun to listen to them talk about projection geometry in a way that but it was all, the cool part about it was all about what, like, not like how do we get all the angles perfect on this drawing, but what will it be like when somebody's in it? How do we minimize the space that people will block projection and make sure that as we transition from the projection on the wall to the ceiling, the geometry works well so that you get the feeling of the whole thing. Like, I don't know, it's really fun.
It is really cool, and it's one of the things I'm very appreciative about the education space specifically. So when I joined Igloo, I was originally on our enterprise team, so I was doing the corporate stuff.
Boring.
It is boring. But they, it's a very, very different landscape because in the enterprise world, they want it to work yesterday and they want it to work immediately and it needs to be perfect. But educators are much more used to problem solving. So when we're navigating that kind of process and figuring out what room is going to go in and how it's going to work and stuff, I generally tend to find educators don't get as afraid as the corporate people used to, because they're just kind of like, it's emerging technology, we're just going to make it work, we're going to have a go, we're going to see what's going on. And it's such a unique technology space to work in because it can go anywhere and you can't go wrong with it. Even if you do nothing other than play really, really cool videos in there, it's still totally awesome. But it's those conversations with the design team, it really matches up well because everybody's on the same page about just how can we make this the best thing that we've ever seen.
That's awesome. We're, like I said, again, we'll turn this into an Igloo commercial, but one of the but it's one of the things that that our team is really excited about, and the education, both from the technical side, our geek side, and then from Robin and the people who are really going to be, finding and helping instructors use this is one, you can't go wrong. You can, even if you're going to do a PowerPoint presentation, dear God, do it here. You know what I'm saying? And so, I think there's people in higher ed that think like, well, that's really fancy. That's way too expensive. We could never do that, right? And one of the ways that in our project and talking with our vice presidents and bringing it through is being able to talk to them about how this isn't a showpiece. This isn't just something cool to look at as an experience. Here are the ways we can use it, but not just that. Like our vice president of finance has wanted like a good data visualization conference room for a long time. But he would never spend the money to build that for himself. Well, now we have one. Now we're going to have one because it can be all of his spreadsheets up, and then it can be a digital, art display, and then we can, have whatever, and it can be all those things on the same day. So the way one of the things we talked about is like, we're not spending this amount of money on one room. We're spending this amount of money on 10 rooms or 12 rooms, because this thing can be all of those things to us, you know what I'm saying, and easily switch from one to the other.
You know what that's called?
A fancy British word?
It's called girl math. It's like, oh, this swimsuit's really nice, but it's $50. But if I wear it 5 times, it's a $10 swimsuit. So you got it. You got it.
So you're saying I girl mathed Clint into buying?
I mean, it sounds like it.
It does sound like it. That's awesome. All right. So, all right, then. Jesus. Okay, so you've been stashed away in the Panasonic booth a little bit this week
because
because it's in there. So give folks a little rundown on what you guys like. How are you showing off your technology in the Panasonic booth?
Oh yeah, so the Panasonic booth, it's a fun one. It's housing on the floor, like. But
not
it's
as fun
cool.
as the one we're going to have.
Yeah,
but I know.
It's fine. It's fine. But it does have a touch screen, and it has a very, very fun mix of content on there. It's slightly challenging. The internet isn't great, so it's really hard to showcase anything that involves that. I managed to get Google Street View to stay just about, but only if I go into the White House randomly. So that's kind of all I've got to work with. But we're doing some cool videos and things, and kind of letting people interact with the screen and have some fun with that. But it's really more that coming to these events, it's not. You can't showcase everything. There's never enough. It would take us days to. I mean, I say this to people on demos when they book them. We just don't have time to show you everything it can do.
Right.
But it's kind of showing a mix of things that help you understand what can be done, and it's super useful because you can see when educators come and see the space in person, you can see them the gears ticking. Oh my god, I understand what I'm going to do with this. So it's pretty cool. And the Panasonic one is just classroom applications only, so we're not doing anything boring over there. Yeah.
No, it's a good example because it's just people need to get the concept and then go like, all right, now let that permeate and think about, because the ideas will come and that sort of thing. But like you mentioned, Street View, which is another just out of the box.
Yes,
it's going to do this thing. When I was at ISE this year and went to the Fuji one, I was like, oh yeah, Street View, and I pulled up the Street View in front of a building and our campus.
Did you do it?
Yeah, I took a picture of myself, and I was like, I'm on campus. You can't prove I was in Spain today. Look this is a picture of me standing in front of Building 19.
And it's uncanny as well, and the ceiling and the floors and the wall one is really interesting. Because we have the New York and the Houston office both have walls and floor, and when you shut that door, I get lost. I was literally in a demo in Houston 2 weeks ago, and I shut the door. I was trying to get out because the door had flown. There was a thunderstorm happening. The door had flown open. The curtains were flying everywhere, and I could hear it banging. And I was like, oh, it's gonna flood. And the PC is right by where the window was.
Awesome.
And I couldn't. I started panicking. The people I was in the demo with, I was like, yo, what's wrong? I don't know where the door is. This is crazy. And once you get past the kind of initial wow, it never goes away. It never goes away. It always feels. I've been in the company for 5 years, and every time I walk into one of those rooms, I'm like, oh wow, and then I still get lost when I shut the door.
That's awesome.
It's really trippy. The Fuji one, the one that you guys are going to have, when you close the door, you're not going to be able to find your way back out. It's really good.
Well, like I said, we're looking forward to it. We're pumped about it. The other thing we're excited about is kind of the community of Igloo users in higher ed that we've already talked with, got connected with, and
fun bunch.
Yeah, and stealing, trading ideas, borrowing content. Like it's, you know what I'm saying? In higher ed, we got to work together, or we all fall apart. So it's another way that we can, collaborate with people at other colleges.
It's lovely, and it's really lovely to see. The US is massive, obviously, as we both know.
Yeah.
And our users are kind of all in really random spots.
Yeah.
Nowhere near. Nobody has any neighbors. Like, just because they may be in the same state, but it could be several hours away.
Texas could be.
Texas is, and it's really nice that everyone is so comfortable reaching out to each other and then sharing ideas, sharing content. Oh, come and tour it. Come and have a go. Paul Cooper from Michigan State.
Yeah, he's great.
He knows more about it than I do, and he will call anyone who is. if anyone emails him and they're like, I'm having some trouble, I'm trying to figure out how to do this, he's like, yeah, let's do it. Let's get on the phone. He actually got on the phone with University of Texas Arlington because they were trying to figure out how to do ThingLink. And ThingLink is like, are you familiar with it? Yeah, it's very neat. It works really well in the space and the kind of hotspots and stuff, but they couldn't quite figure out how to do it. And I was like, I don't really know myself too much. Like, I've done a little bit of content development and ThingLink, so I could understand the general premise. And Paul got on the phone and he cleared it up like that with Jill, and she was just like, he's so lovely, and they speak the same language. It's really, really, really nice. And I'm very fortunate in the US. I've been able to go and meet every single one of our users in person and connect with them face to face, and then connect them with each other so that they can all kind of, it's very
awesome.
good fun.
No, that's something you connected us with. You mentioned both Paul and Carrie, right?
Yes.
And we, connected us with them, and we actually did a recording with them talking about how they use it to play and use to help our people know what they're doing. And they couldn't have been like wanting to share what they were working on and enthusiastic to help when you're just like, hey, we've got one coming and we'd love to get our people excited about it. They were like, yes, whatever time you need, let's do that. So I don't know, it was awesome.
Yeah, everyone in the community is there. They are lovely people, and it's really nice, and it's really helpful for people who are exploring getting involved in that kind of tech, where it is a substantial investment, and obviously it's really nice to be able to say, talk to anyone. Yeah. Talk to anyone in the group about this. Promise you'll get the answers that you need, and if it's right, then it's right.
Nice. Well, if people wanted to find out more about you or get connected with you and bend your ear about, say, Igloo or any other thing out there, how would they go about finding you?
Well, there is always the company info at. So there's info@igloovision.com. It takes you to a really funky landing page, and someone gets back with quality spam.
Right.
And then my email address is rebecca.wade@igloovision.com.
There you go.
But I only do education, so I usually don't give out my email for all, who could be listening to this. Do you know?
Oh, yeah, I know. All 7 people who and I would say you're probably findable on LinkedIn as well.
I am, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I try to remember to post sometimes.
Every once in a while.
It doesn't happen very often. I get distracted by people on bridges and things, but
that's how it works. Well, so first, I know the show floor time is valuable time. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us today. I appreciate it. And keep on doing the good work for higher ed. Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to the AV-IT Amplifier. Tune in next week for more with today's guest. It'll be great, or your money back. Your host has been Ryan Gray. He's on the tweeters at Ryan_A_Gray, or find him on LinkedIn to connect. Please subscribe and give the show a rating and review wherever you get your podcasts. This show is brought to you by higheredav.com. The views expressed here are not necessarily those of our respective institutions, employers, or sponsors. Everyone hang in there, go easy, and we'll be back next week.